The stars twisted and bent around the ship like water going down a drain. Then everything snapped back into place, and the horizon's edge floated in a new star system, thousands of light years from Earth. Captain Park Jisoo gripped the armrests of her command chair. Her stomach still felt wrong from the jump. Around her, the bridge crew was checking their stations, making sure everything still worked. The experimental jump drive had done its job. They were the first humans to ever travel between stars. "Status report," she said, keeping her voice calm even though her heart was beating fast. "All systems are working," said Chief Engineer Baek Sun-ho from his station. "The jump drive needs time to cool down. Maybe 6 hours before we can jump again." Lieutenant Kwon Do-hyun at the tactical station suddenly sat up straight. His face went pale. "Captain, we have a problem. A big problem." The main screen flickered and showed what was outside the ship. Jisoo felt her breath catch in her throat. There were ships everywhere. 12 large vessels, each one bigger than anything humanity had ever built. They were ugly things covered in spikes and weapons. Between them floated thousands of smaller pods, like seeds scattered by the wind. "What are those pods?" Jisoo asked. Communications officer Yoon Hana worked her console with shaking hands. "I am picking up life signs, Captain. Thousands of them. Different species. They are in cages." Jisoo stood up slowly. She walked closer to the screen. Inside one of the pods, she could see faces pressed against a small window. Strange faces, not human, but she could read the expression easily. Fear, hopelessness, despair. "It is a slave convoy," Hana whispered. "They are transporting slaves." Before Jisoo could respond, the communication system crackled. A voice came through, speaking in a language the computer quickly translated. It was cold and arrogant. "Unidentified vessel. You have entered the minion space without permission. Power down your weapons and engines. Your species now belongs to the collective. Do not resist. Resistance is punished by death." The bridge was silent. Everyone looked at their captain. Jisoo had read about slavery in history books. Humanity had fought a long and bloody war to end it on Earth. The idea that it still existed somewhere in the universe made her feel sick. "Can we jump away?" she asked Sun-ho. "No, the drive is too hot. If we try to jump now, it will explode and kill us all." "What about fighting?" She looked at Do-hyun. The tactical officer shook his head. "Captain, we are an exploration ship. We have small weapons for pushing asteroids away. Those are warships. We cannot win." One of the alien ships was moving closer. Jisoo could see weapons on its hull starting to glow. She thought about her orders from Earth. Explore. Make contact. Be careful. Do not start any conflicts. She thought about her crew, 340 people who trusted her to bring them home safe. Then she looked at the pods full of slaves again. At the faces in the windows. Mothers holding children. Old ones who had given up hope. Young ones who had never known freedom. "Hannah," Jisoo said quietly. "Open a channel to the alien ships." "Channel open, Captain." Jisoo took a deep breath. "This is Captain Park Jisoo of the Earth vessel Horizon's Edge. I am giving you one chance. Release your prisoners and leave this system. If you do not, we will destroy you." The alien voice laughed. It was an ugly sound. "You threaten us? One small ship against 12. Your species is stupid. We will enjoy breaking you." Jisoo turned to her tactical officer. Target their engines first. Then their weapons. Sun-ho, give me everything the engines have. Hannah, record everything. If we die here, I want Earth to know what we found." "Captain," Do-hyun said carefully, "we really cannot win this fight." Jisoo smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Maybe not, but we can try. And sometimes, trying is enough. She sat back in a chair. All hands, this is the captain. Battle stations. We are about to do something very stupid and very human. I am proud to serve with all of you. The horizon's edge was small and fast. The alien ships were big and slow. They had never fought anyone who did not follow their rules. They expected the human ship to surrender or run. Instead, the horizon's edge dove straight at the largest warship, firing every weapon it had. The first alien ship lost its engines before it could turn. The second one fired too slow and missed. The human ship twisted and spun in ways the aliens had never seen. It was not military flying. It was desperate, creative, insane. Da-Hyun found that the alien shields had a weakness. They were strong against big weapons, but weak against many small hits. He changed tactics, firing hundreds of tiny shots instead of few big ones. Soon-Ho pushed the engines beyond their safe limits. Warning lights flashed everywhere. He ignored them. Navigator O Taiwan flew the ship like he was dancing, always moving, never staying still long enough to be hit. 11 minutes. That is how long the battle lasted. When it was over, 12 alien warships were burning in space. The horizon's edge was damaged, smoking, barely holding together. But it was a live dot, and 23,000 slaves were free. Jisoo looked at the pods floating in space, no longer prisoners. She did not know what would happen next. She did not know that she had just started a war that would change the entire galaxy. All she knew was that today, her crew had done something good. "Get those pods," she ordered. "Bring everyone aboard. Let us find out who we just saved." The stars watched silently as the small human ship began its rescue. Somewhere far away, in the heart of a great empire, alarm bells were starting to ring. The humans had arrived, and nothing would ever be the same. The horizon's edge was never built to carry 23,000 passengers. Every room, every hallway, every storage space was now filled with freed slaves. They came in all shapes and sizes. Some had fur. Some had scales. Some had 4 arms. Some had no arms at all. But they all shared the same look in their eyes. The look of people who could not believe they were free. Captain Park Jisoo walked through the crowded hallways of her ship. She stopped to help where she could. A mother needed water for her child. An old one needed medicine. A young one just needed someone to tell him it was okay to sleep without chains. Dr. Shin Mai-rei had not slept in 2 days. She was the ship's only doctor, and now she had thousands of patients. A medical bay was full, so she had turned the cafeteria into a second hospital. Then a third. Then a fourth. "How are they?" Jisoo asked her. Mai-rei looked exhausted but determined. "Physically, most of them will recover. But the mental wounds... Captain, some of these people have been slaves for their entire lives. Their parents were slaves. Their grandparents were slaves. They do not know how to be free." Jisoo nodded sadly. "Do your best. That is all any of us can do." Chief Engineer Baek Sun-ho had worse news. "The jump drive is broken," he told the captain. "The battle damaged it badly. I can fix it, but I need parts we do not have. We cannot go home. How long until they send more ships after us?" Sun-ho shrugged. "Days, maybe less." So they were trapped. A damaged ship, thousands of refugees, and an angry empire coming to destroy them. Jisoo wanted to scream. Instead, she took a deep breath and kept walking. That night, something strange happened. Jisoo was in her ready room, trying to plan their next move when Hana called her. "Captain, you need to come to the cargo bay. Something is happening." When Jisoo arrived, she found hundreds of the freed slaves gathered together. They were kneeling on the floor, facing a large being with 4 arms and gray skin. This was Tola, a warrior from a planet called Brel. Before his people were conquered, he had been a leader of their army. When Tola saw Jisu, he knelt too. Then he spoke, and Hana translated. For 40 generations my people have waited. Our oldest stories speak of those who would come from the darkness between stars. Those who would not kneel to the dominion. Those who could not be broken. We have found them. We have found you. Jisu felt uncomfortable. Please stand up. I am not your master. No one is your master anymore. We know, Tola said, rising. That is why we kneel. Not because we have to, but because we choose to. You did not have to save us. You could have run. You could have died. But you chose to fight. To strangers. For people who are not even your species. Another alien stepped forward. This one was thin and tall, with silver skin. His name was Ren, and he had been a slave on Dominion ships for 50 years. He knew their secrets. The Dominion has ruled for 40,000 years, Ren said. They have conquered over 900 species. They believe they cannot be defeated. They have never fought someone like you? Someone like us? Jisu asked. Humans do not know that they are supposed to lose. Every species the Dominion conquered, they broke first. They told them they could not win. They told them resistance was useless. And those species believed it. But you did not believe. You fought anyway. That is something the Dominion does not understand. Tola spoke again. We want to fight with you. Not for you. With you. We remember how to be warriors. The Dominion made us forget, but we remember now. Give us weapons, and we will stand beside you. Jisu looked at the crowd of aliens. She saw anger in their eyes now, not fear. The Dominion had taken everything from them. Their homes. Their families. Their freedom. Now they wanted to take something back. We are one ship, she said carefully. The Dominion has thousands. Ren smiled. It was not a nice smile. For now. But there are billions of slaves across their empire. Trillions. They all dream of freedom. They just need hope. They need to see that it is possible to fight and win. You gave us that hope today. Now, we will give it to others. Lieutenant Han Jian had been listening quietly. She was the ship's intelligence officer, and her mind was already working. We could free more slaves. Build a fleet. The Dominion relies on slave labor for everything. If the slaves rebel, the empire falls, Ren finished. From the inside. It was crazy. It was impossible. They were talking about starting a war against a civilization that had ruled the galaxy for longer than humans had existed. Jisu thought about Earth, about her family, about the life she had left behind. Then she thought about the child she had seen today, sleeping peacefully for the first time in his life because he was finally free. Okay, she said. We do not run. We fight. But we do this together. No masters, no slaves. We are equals or this means nothing. Tola placed his forehands over his heart. Equals. Yes, I like this word. The news spread through the ship quickly. By morning, every freed slave who could hold a weapon had volunteered to fight. They did not have much. A damaged ship. Limited weapons. No home base, but they had something the Dominion had never faced before. They had people who refused to accept that they could not win out in the darkness of space. The horizon's edge turned away from Earth and flew deeper into enemy territory. The war had begun. 6 months passed. The story of the human ship spread through the galaxy like fire. Slaves whispered about it in the dark corners of mines and factories. They told stories about a ship that had appeared from nowhere and destroyed an entire convoy. About a species called humans who did not know how to surrender. About a captain who had looked at the most powerful empire in the galaxy and said no. the Dominion tried to stop the stories. They punished anyone caught speaking about the humans. They said the whole thing was a lie. But the stories kept spreading anyway. Hope was like water. It always found a way through the cracks. The horizon's edge was not alone anymore. Lieutenant Han Jian had built a network of spies among the conquered peoples. She learned when slave convoys would travel through lonely systems, where the Dominion's defenses were weak, which commanders were careless. Each raid added more ships to their small fleet. Each rescue added more fighters to their army. Weapons. Specialist Chao Wujin spent every day training their new soldiers. The freed slaves came from many different species. Some were big and strong like Tola's people. Some were small and quick. Some could see in the dark. Some could survive in extreme cold. Wujin learned to use all of their strengths. The Dominion fights the same way every time, he told his students. They fly in straight lines. They attack in order. They follow rules that have not changed in thousands of years. We do not follow rules. We do whatever works. By the end of 6 months, the rebellion had 53 ships. It was still tiny compared to the Dominion's 10,000 warships. But it was enough to hurt them. On a planet called Velker, the slaves in the mines heard that the human fleet was nearby. They stopped working. When the guards tried to force them back to work, they fought back. By the time Dominion soldiers arrived, the slaves had taken control of the entire mining complex. On a space station near the border, a young Dominion officer named Kai secretly sent information to the rebels. He had grown up believing that slavery was normal. Then he had seen how the slaves were treated, and something inside him broke. He was not the only one. More and more Dominion citizens were starting to question their empire. The Dominion High Council met for the first time in 300 years. The council chamber was huge and ancient, filled with beings who had ruled the galaxy for generations. They did not look worried. They looked annoyed. "This human problem has gone on long enough," said Lord Varn, the oldest council member. "One ship destroys a convoy, and suddenly everyone thinks they can challenge us. This is embarrassing." Grand Admiral Voss stood before them. He was the supreme commander of all Dominion military forces, and he had never lost a battle. "Give me 400 ships. I will find their base and destroy it. I will capture this Captain Park and execute her publicly. The slaves will learn their place again." "And if you fail?" asked another council member. Voss laughed coldly. "I do not fail. But if you want extra insurance, give me the location of their homeworld. Earth, they call it. If the rebels do not surrender, we will burn their planet to ash." That usually makes species cooperative, the council agreed. 400 warships, the largest fleet assembled in 1,000 years, began to gather back on the horizon's edge. Jisu received the news from their spies. She called a meeting with her senior officers and allied leaders. 400 ships, she said quietly. "And they are looking for Earth." The room was silent. Everyone understood what this meant. If the Dominion found Earth, billions of humans would die or become slaves. "We have to warn them," said Navigator O Taiwan. "Send a message somehow." "If we send a message, the Dominion will trace it and find Earth's location," Jiang replied. "Our communication technology is not advanced enough to hide it." Kang Inji, the tactical analyst, was staring at his star map. She had been quiet for a long time, but now she spoke up. "We cannot win this battle, not directly. 400 ships against 53? We would be destroyed in minutes." "Then we run?" Tola asked, his voice heavy with disappointment. "No," Yunji said. "We do something crazy. We let them win." Everyone stared at her. "Think about it," she continued. "The Dominion expects us to defend our base. That is what every conquered species has done. They build something, and then they die trying to protect it. But what if we do not protect it? What if we sacrifice the base to hurt them somewhere else? Ren understood first. His silver face broke into a smile. The capital, Throne. While their fleet is here, their home is undefended. We cannot take Throne with 50 ships, Sunho said. We do not need to take it, Yunji replied. We just need to reach it. Long enough to send a message, a real message. To every slave in the galaxy, to every conquered planet, to everyone who has ever dreamed of freedom. Jisoo felt her heart beating faster. It was insane. It would require leaving behind everything they had built. Some of them would die, but it might work. Sungmin, she said to Commander Yu Sungmin, her oldest friend. I need you to stay behind with a small force. Make the Dominion think we are defending the base. Give us time to escape. Sungmin met her eyes. They both knew what she was asking. He nodded slowly. I will give you as much time as I can. I am sorry. Do not be sorry, Sungmin said. Just make it count. The next day, the fleet split in two. The smaller group, led by Sungmin, stayed at the base. The larger group, led by Jisoo, disappeared into the darkness of space. That they were going to do the impossible. They were going to attack the heart of the Empire. Grand Admiral Voss stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. Around him, 400 warships waited in perfect formation. They had found the rebel base hidden in the Ember Nebula, a cloud of gas and dust at the edge of civilized space. Scan the area, Voss ordered. I want to know exactly what we are facing. His officers worked quickly. Admiral, we count 12 ships defending the base. The rest must be out on raids. Voss smiled. This was easier than he expected. Destroy them. Destroy everything. The Dominion fleet moved forward like a great wave. Their weapons lit up the nebula with fire. The rebel ships fought back, twisting and turning, trying to survive. Commander Yu Sungmin knew he was going to die. He had accepted it the moment he volunteered to stay behind. But he was not going to die quietly. He was going to make the Dominion pay for every second. Keep moving, he ordered his small group of ships. Use the nebula. The dust will confuse their sensors. The battle went on for hours. Sungmin's ships were faster and knew the nebula better. They hid in dust clouds and attacked from unexpected angles. They made the Dominion work for every small victory. But slowly, one by one, the rebel ships fell. When only Sungmin's ship remained, he sent one final message to the Dominion flagship. Admiral Voss, my name is Yu Sungmin. I am a human. Today I die, but I die free. And while you were busy killing me, my friends are doing something you never expected. Enjoy your empty victory. Then, his ship exploded, taking 3 Dominion vessels with it. Voss felt a cold feeling in his stomach. Something was wrong. Where was the human captain? Where was the main fleet? Admiral, an officer shouted. We are receiving reports from Throne. Enemy ships have appeared in the capital system. Far across the galaxy, the horizon's edge and 42 other ships emerged from their jump near the Dominion. Homeworld. Captain Park Jisoo looked at the planet below. Throne was beautiful in a cold way. Great cities covered its surface. Massive stations orbited around it. This was the center of the empire that had enslaved the galaxy for 40,000 years. It was also almost completely undefended. Most of the military was with Voss, far away. How long until they can respond? Jisoo asked. The nearest reinforcements are 2 hours away, Jian reported. Voss's fleet is much farther. They cannot get here in time. Then we have 2 hours. Let us use them. The rebel ships spread out, but they did not attack the planet. They did not bomb the cities or destroy the stations. Instead, they did something the Dominion never expected. They talked. Dr. Shin Mai-Rei had spent months preparing for this moment. She had written a message with help from freed slaves of 100 different species. It was translated into every language in the Dominion. Now she sat before a communication console and began to broadcast. To every slave in the Dominion. To every conquered people. To everyone who has forgotten what freedom feels like. My name is Shin Mai-rei. I am a human. I am a doctor. And I am here to tell you that you are not alone. Her voice reached billions of beings across hundreds of worlds. In mines and factories, in ships and stations, slaves stopped what they were doing to listen. 6 months ago, our ship accidentally found a slave convoy. We could have run. We could have saved ourselves. But we chose to fight. Not because we were strong, but because it was right. And you know what? We won. One small ship against 12 warships, and we won. Because we refused to accept that we could not. On a farm planet called Bess, an old slave who had worked the fields for 60 years felt tears running down his face. The Dominion tells you that resistance is impossible. They tell you that you are weak. They tell you that this is how things have always been and how they will always be. They are wrong. They are liars. They are afraid. Because they know that if you stand up together, they cannot stop you. On a mining station, a young slave looked at the guards watching over her. There were 5 guards. There were 500 slaves. She had never thought about those numbers before. We cannot free you. Only you can free yourselves. But we can fight beside you. We can help you. We can show the galaxy that the Dominion is not as strong as they want you to believe. Look up at the sky tonight. Look at Throne, the heart of the Empire, and we are here. If we can do this, anything is possible. Marie's voice grew stronger. You are not property. You are not tools. You are not animals. You are people. You have the right to live free. You have the right to choose your own future. And if you are willing to fight for that right, we will fight with you. Until the end. Until every chain is broken. Until every slave is free. The broadcast lasted 4 minutes before Dominion forces finally jammed the signal. 4 minutes that changed the galaxy forever. On Throne, citizens looked up at the sky in fear. They had never seen enemy ships above their world. They had believed they were untouchable in space. Dominion defense ships were finally arriving. Jizu knew it was time to go. All ships, prepare to jump. We did what we came to do. As the fleet prepared to escape, Jisu took one last look at Throne. Then she smiled. Sungmin, we made it count. The rebel fleet vanished into the darkness between stars. Behind them, the galaxy was waking up. On 100 worlds, slaves revolted that night. On 1,000 more, they began to plan. The message had reached trillions of beings who had lived their whole lives in chains. For the first time, they believed they could be free. The storm had broken, and it was just beginning. The war lasted 3 years. It was the bloodiest conflict the galaxy had ever seen. Not because of the battles between fleets, though those were terrible enough. It was bloody because it was fought everywhere at once. In mines and factories, on ships and stations, in cities and farms. Wherever there were slaves, there was war. The Dominion tried to crush the rebellions with force. They sent soldiers to kill anyone who resisted. But for every rebel they killed, 10 more rose to take their place. The harder they pushed, the more people fought back. Admiral Park Ji-soo, as she was now called, led the main rebel fleet. It had grown from 50 ships to over 2,000. Former slaves served alongside humans as equals. They learned from each other. The Brel taught humans how to fight in close combat. The Ven showed them how to build better weapons. The humans taught everyone how to never give up. Tola became a general, leading ground forces in battle after battle. The warrior who had once knelt before Jisu now stood beside her as an equal, Just as she had promised, Ren commanded a fleet of his own, striking at the minion supply lines. His knowledge of their systems made him deadly. He knew where they were weak, and he attacked those weak points again and again. The Dominion High Council grew desperate. They had never fought a war like this. They did not know how. For 40,000 years, they had only conquered. They had never defended. Grand Admiral Voss won battle after battle, but it did not matter. Every victory cost him ships he could not replace. Every world he saved from rebellion had 2 more fall. He was fighting water, and he was drowning. "We cannot continue like this," Lord Varn told the council. "Our economy depends on slave labor. Without slaves, our factories close. Our farms die. Our ships have no one to build them. Then we offer peace," another council member suggested. "Free some slaves. Give up some territories. They will accept." Voss shook his head. "You do not understand these humans. They do not want some slaves freed. They want all slaves freed. They will not stop until we give them everything or until we destroy them completely." "Then destroy them," Varn said. "I have been trying." Voss shouted, losing his composure for the first time. "They do not fight the way they should. They do not follow rules. They attack when they should defend. They sacrifice themselves when they should survive. They are insane." In the 3rd year of the war, the rebels finally had enough strength to attack Throne directly. Not a quick raid like before, but a real invasion. The Battle of Throne lasted 2 weeks. It was fought in space and on the ground. It was fought in the streets of the capital city and in the halls of the council building itself. Jisoo led the space battle. Her flagship, the rebuilt Horizon's Edge, fought in the front lines. She had been offered a newer, bigger ship many times, but she always refused. This was the ship that had started everything. She would see it through to the end. The fighting was brutal. Ships exploded all around her. Friends she had known for years died in seconds. But slowly, painfully, the rebel fleet pushed forward. On the ground, Tola led his warriors into the council building. The Dominion guards fought hard, but the freed slaves fought harder. They had spent their whole lives dreaming of this moment. Nothing could stop them. Grand Admiral Voss died defending the council chamber. His last words were, "This is not possible." Even at the end, he could not understand how a single human ship had grown into the force that destroyed his empire. When it was over, Admiral Park Jisoo walked into the council chamber. The surviving council members looked at her with fear. They expected death. They expected revenge. "We surrender," Lord Varn said, kneeling. "We will free the slaves. We will pay whatever you demand. Just tell us your terms." Jisoo looked at him for a long moment. Then she stepped aside. "I am not here to give you terms," she said. "I am not your conqueror. I am not interested in replacing you. Your slaves are already free. Your empire is already over. What happens next is not up to humanity." Behind her came representatives from dozens of species. The Brel, the Ven, the Kethri, the Sorvan, the Telmari, and many others. These were the people who had been slaves. Now they would decide the future. Tola stepped forward. "For 40,000 years you took everything from us. Our freedom, our families, our dignity. Now we take it back. Not through revenge, but through justice. You will answer for your crimes. And then we will build something new. Something better. A galaxy where no one is a slave." The war was over. 10 years later, the Horizon's Edge returned to Earth. The ship looked different now. It had been rebuilt 3 times, patched together with parts from a dozen different species. Scars from 100 battles marked its hull. But it was still flying, and that was what mattered. Admiral Park Jisoo stood on the observation deck, watching Earth grow larger in the viewport. Her hair was gray now. Her face showed the weight of years of war and loss. But her eyes were still the same as they had been on that day, long ago, when she had seen the slave pods and decided to fight. Beside her stood the people who had survived the journey with her. Dr. Shin Mai-Rei, whose broadcast had changed the galaxy. Chief Engineer Beek Sun-ho, who had kept the ship flying against all odds. Lieutenant Han Ji-yeon, whose spy network had made victory possible. And many others. Behind them stood ambassadors from 47 species. They had come to introduce themselves to Earth, to thank the humans, to invite them into the Galactic Alliance, the new organization that had replaced the Dominion. We went looking for new worlds, Jisoo said quietly. We found something else. What is that? Hannah asked. Jisoo smiled, looking at the pale blue dot that had sent one small ship into the unknown. We found family. The ship descended toward Earth. Below, billions of humans were waiting to welcome them home. They did not know everything that had happened. They did not know how close they had come to becoming slaves. But they knew that their people had gone to the stars and changed everything. In schools across the galaxy, children learned about the humans who had started a war with just one ship. Teachers told them that freedom was worth fighting for, that hope could not be killed, that even the smallest person could make a difference. And somewhere, in a quiet corner of space, a memorial floated for those who had not lived to see victory. Commander Yu Sung-min's name was first on the list, along with thousands of others who had given everything so that others could be free. The galaxy had burned. And from the ashes, something beautiful had been born. Galaxy where no one knelt except by choice. A galaxy where hope was stronger than fear. A galaxy that would never forget the day one human ship arrived and changed everything. The end.